a little bit.
So Jace seen high priority by a lot of teams. Of course, mid lane has been a big focus pick over the past few weeks. Not so much of it in the top lane anymore, but top lane is off the board now. Is that Rumble taken away? Of course, we have seen a couple of teams flex it into the jungle, but not since, you know, week 2, week 3 of the spring split.
For sure. Xerxe was one of them. But we'll see. The Ivern banned away, the must ban against Xerxe. Still, a lot of top laners up and available when you talk about top lane. Phaxi, honestly, showing up pretty big in that last game. The Gnar really did some work.
It did. I mean, it did some work, but at the same time, the Renekton did a whole lot more for the Unicorns.
True.
Unfortunately, ROCCAT never getting that 1-3-1 available. So Varus blue side ban. We've got Camille available again. For now. Shen was
Shen's
the other
too.
ban that ROCCAT would have to go with, which I think is an okay ban here if you want to take it away. Would explain the Rumble ban here if you expect ROCCAT to take away the Camille. Potentially first pick Shen, giving away the Jhin.
The Jhin ban, though, so we take off 2 of those top tier AD carries, or at least the top tier and the one right after, and Unicorns instead of the Camille, instead of the Shen. They're eyeballing a Rengar right now.
I think they were expecting the Rengar to be banned here and to have the possibility of Shen into Camille, which is a decent matchup. Haha, now ROCCAT turn it around on them and say, we'll take the Shen.
And the Ashe as well. So they have a utility AD carry for Hjarnan once again, but they have some serious protection to go with it right now. So big pickup for ROCCAT.
Shen Ashe is like rush to 6 and make plays on bot lane, utilize the arrow, get the stand united through, and we've seen Chachi play this a whole bunch. Into the Shen Gangplank as that matchup. Obviously would have been banned if we went into phase 2, so picking it up early now. They got to pick up an AD carry for the Unicorns of Love if they don't want their pool to get pinched. We've seen the Caitlyn out of Samux a whole lot, and I was a split second too late on saying Caitlyn before it showed up.
Unfortunately, can't always predict them all. He hasn't locked it just yet, but there it goes.
See, the problem was I did, but I took too long to say it. That's the
Conciseness is important.
thing.
You know that, Stress.
I'm just going to dilute it down into like one-word answers. Where I'm going to say
yelling
Kha'Zix.
like the champion name and be like, there, it's going to happen. We're waiting.
I'm only using one word. I've already...
Okay. Oh, this is going to be a hard cast.
Kha'Zix. Oh, Graves. Graves could be a good matchup here.
Yeah,
I was right with the first one. I shouldn't have said more words. I shouldn't have said more words. That was the silly bit.
Oh, well. But Maxlore did really well on that Kha'Zix in game 1 as well, and I like to see it coming out one more time. There's a lot of damage on the Unicorn side, but early game potential out of ROCCAT too. It's not just Rush 6 now because Kha'Zix still makes some things happen.
So, taking away the Nami is a decent start here, obviously wanting to take away one of those laning supports. Now, ROCCAT, please don't get baited into picking Malzahar for yourself and getting it countered by Lulu, because Lulu Caitlyn is a good pushing lane as well. I don't want ROCCAT to end up in that situation because you'd have outdrafted yourself. For the rest of the Unicorns, mid lane is the focus, getting away some of those later game scaling mid laners. We've seen so much Orianna recently. Wouldn't be surprised to see Ryze taken off here as well.
There's the Syndra. That's another one. Talk about montage mid laners. Ori and Syndra do come to mind.
They do. I wonder whether it'll be a Tom Kench ban here.
It's a Zed.
Ooh,
Okay.
a Zed ban.
Well, it's the kind of thing that, you know, you go a little bit back, and Betsy definitely had some preference for
Yeah,
it.
he did as well in the last couple of weeks. He played a couple of games just to try and get some sense of presence in the mid lane. Now, what is it going to be for ROCCAT? Will they go the Tom Kench safe route? Will it be Camille support coming through for either team?
A lot of questions still to answer. Yeah, 5 seconds for ROCCAT ticking down, and it looks like they're going to focus on their mid lane. It's a Ryze for Betsy once again.
And I guess that's the most solid pick they could have really thought. It takes it away from Exileh as well. It's going to be a late game matchup in that mid lane.
Cassiopeia for Exileh. It goes right down to this after they banned a couple of mid lanes against him, one on their own side, in fact, and the last choice is that support. Oh, we'll see out of Unicorns. Will it be the Lulu?
If it is the Lulu, it zones away the Malzahar pick. We might see the Zyra as well, or are we going to see another playmaking support?
Ooh, they were thinking about it, but maybe they take the Malzahar for themselves. They do. It's locked in for Hylissang.
ROCCAT could look for the Lulu themselves and look to equal some of that bot lane presence. However, Caitlyn into Ashe. Generally, Ashe does trade okay. And Zyra and Ashe will trade very, very well post-6. Of course, their synergy has been long-standing.
Definitely been a staple since this season started. It's going in. So, the Zyra locked in for Wadid. We see that good old Ashe Zyra bottom lane, and ROCCAT, they definitely have a pretty solid comp, especially once you hit past that 6th level.
They absolutely do. You're going to bring a Shen, Kha'Zix into the bot lane at level 6 or later. We'll see how Wadid can actually manage the early game, because last game they basically died at level 2.
Yeah,
or at
that
least
was a bit of a problem.
Wadid did.
I'm not even gonna follow that this time. But unicorns, they have a lot of power themselves too, right? Like you look at the Rengar, talk about a post-6 world, things start to get a little hairy for the ROCCAT team if they have to be dealing with it. But there's always a Shen. You can never be totally alone when there's a Stand United.
That's true. Unicorns, however, are looking fairly later game focused themselves here. With the Gangplank, with the Cassiopeia, we're going a little longer into the game. Of course, Caitlyn has a long talked about dip in the mid game where you're just waiting for items.
Yeah,
so
it's a parabolic curve for that champion.
Yeah, more about trying to control the lane here. Whereas ROCCAT, again, could be looking to set up a 1-3-1 with the Shen, with the Ryze. It didn't work out for them in the last game. Will it work out better in game 2?
Yeah, Unicorns had amassed a pretty big lead for themselves by about that time, but they're looking for the late game themselves this time. And if you think they can do it, whatever phase of the game, don't forget to keep tweeting at LOL Esports, hashtag UOL win. Or if ROCCAT can fire back, blast off to victory, hashtag ROC win. At LOL Esports is the place, of course. We're going to find out as we load up onto Summoner's Rift for the 2nd time in this series.
Did they ever blast off to victory? At least in the cartoon.
I've watched enough Pokemon to kind of know that they definitely don't have a good ratio of success. Yeah. I don't know if they have a success.
Okay, because I really hope, they used to fly into the air and then that bing. I hope that bing in the sky is the promotion tournament, because that is not the direction you want to be taking.
That's savage.
ROCCAT are in damage control mode. And I'm only saying this because we're looking at the teams in Challenger. Like, Schalke look exceptionally strong, but every other team looks beatable. So for ROCCAT, some of the improvements they made in Game 1 could be enough to save them from even getting there. If they can beat Giants, if they can beat Vitality, if they can maybe bypass Origin as well.
And even Fnatic. Remember, they did have one win against this team.
Yeah,
and
that's
Fnatic
true.
have honestly been in a pretty big slump themselves.
They have been. I still think Fnatic are good enough to avoid the bottom 2 spots, despite their troubles. But ROCCAT right now, a win over Origin would tie them with Giants, and then a win over Giants would give them 2 series wins, and would be enough without some big win for Giants happening to escape the relegation promotion tournament.
A lot of possibilities. Hylissang gets a ward clear off early. And the crowd goes wild. Stepping up forward this time, trying to push back this Ashe Zyra bottom lane. Very pokey lane we've seen since the start of 7.1. In all honesty, it's come right back into the circle.
Yeah, all the way from 2013. It is.
Oh yeah, that was a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically what put Cloud9 on the map was every game was Ashe Zyra, and everybody else has picked it up in this split, and even in last season as well. So
is that when they were still called Quantic?
No, it was after. Okay, it was the summer split that they entered, and they dominated, if you remember.
You know what's back also, by the way? League of Thunderlords.
It is.
For this game, anyways.
We've had a lot of the broadcast crew here in EU trying to make as many weather puns as they can. I say a lot. It's more that Trevor's tried to find a new one every time he's casted, but lots of Thunderlords coming through on this Rift. It's unsurprising when you got champions like Rengar, when you got champions like Malzahar.
Kha'Zix.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of hunt this time around. Blast Cone taken by Maxlore. He moves. Start on his blue. Or rather, move on his blue, rather. Xerxe over at the Raptors. I want to see how these 2 junglers definitely do in the beginning of this game.
I like that hook shot sent out from Hjarnan. Level 2, get a hawk shot through the jungle. They spotted him out on Raptors. Now you know exactly where Xerxe is. You had a good idea before, but you can track how far through the jungle. They knew he hadn't gone to red yet, and that's the important piece of information that they got. You can see Maxlore's now looking to invade on red.
Maxlore's really low right now. He went in with almost no health, and auto, it's not enough.
Oh, Betsy couldn't quite get it. Didn't want to flash under tower. He knew Exileh had flash available as well. And Betsy showing some dominance in that mid lane.
That was a head scratcher though for Exileh.
Oh, Maxlore could like to come mid. He's going to finish this red. Flash into jump.
There we go. Jumped on, and it's first blood. Betsy taking tower shots.
No.
He's going to go down, and Exileh gets a return kill.
It should have been so clean. It should have been the 1 for nothing. And ROCCAT walk away with everything. Betsy had to get grounded onto Exileh so we couldn't flash. That's why Betsy went so far forward. Unfortunately, had to try and flash out, couldn't get there. Was too deep under the turret, and Exileh picks up the kill in response. In fact, he couldn't get the grounded to Cassiopeia. Just wanted to stun him.
Feels bad, man. Maxlore looking to do something up top, but Vizicsacsi with the clutch ward there, place it down. He knows the bug is coming for him, and he throws a couple of barrels out his way. Maxlore, last time around, he definitely had a pretty impressive performance. And honestly, we kind of didn't expect this, but let's take a look at the replay one more time.
Yeah, so it was Flash Rune Prison, and then Betsy got grounded. That was the way around that interaction happened. Maxlore picked up the kill, and Betsy's like, that should have been free.
Yep. Just a little unlucky.
Not many opportunities you're going to get to kill Exileh this early on and not lose anything for it, and that was another one of them where ROCCAT couldn't quite take full advantage.
Betsy does have a big farm lead, but going back to earlier point, I want to talk about the jungle and how Xerxe kind of came into this having a much more impressive record than Maxlore. Last game not really withstanding. You can see some of the difference. Not massive, but Exileh in the mid trading with Betsy. Goes Xerxe trying to bump his numbers again.
And a lot of it is about that activity. Of course, this doesn't include game 1, but you can see Xerxe first for activity early on, kills and assists at pre-15. Maxlore was last. Well, if on the next game this graphic was run, Maxlore might not be, because he just got involved early on. So that'll bring up his average. A change in style from Maxlore going mid lane. The opportunity was there. Easy to seize it when you're playing Kha'Zix around a low health target in the mid lane, but well done from ROCCAT nonetheless.
Yeah, improvements in how they're playing this game out. It may not be enough to net them a win against the Unicorns, but as we keep saying, they've got a lot of weaker opponents coming up next. It's an encouraging sign for this team. Back down to bot, we just saw Samux and Hylissang pushing in Hjarnan and Wadid. Up in top, it's Chachi doing the same thing to Phaxi. Taunt does land though, there's the oranges, and he's K.
Yep, he's okay. Down in that bottom lane, we just saw it for a moment. Samux and Hylissang have themselves a decent lead in bot lane. Phaxi knows he might be about to get ganked, so started recalling and then comes back to lane. Oh, Phaxi, careful.
Oh, Xerxe stopped.
Xerxe had the opportunity once and didn't take it. And he's going to go on him. Oh, Phaxi pushes forward. Go, Xerxe.
Dangerous. There we goes. In he hops, force the flash.
Yeah, gets the flash. No real response out of Phaxi. He thought about recalling earlier, chose not to, and ends up having his flash taken away from him.
It's a pretty big disparity in that mid lane. You saw Betsy just getting a bit of an outplay trade onto Exileh, and now Maxlore is wrapping around one more time for round 2. After he finishes off these Raptors, he might be interested in going for Exileh, who still has his flash, by the way. Betsy still trading excellently. He's showing some dominance in this mid lane. This is something ROCCAT need.
Yeah, he is really stamping his authority down. Of course, Betsy has the extra experience from being in lane a little faster, and actually getting that kill is the big part of that. Maxlore's looking to come back towards that mid lane. Exileh has just got 6, so we'll be safe if the dive comes in, if he can land that ultimate, but obviously has to trade through Betsy's shield first.
It's hard. He's nomming those biscuits, but he's going to have to eat fast.
Good
and, Maxlore turns right on the petrifying gaze. Hoppin delivering Phaxi to try and finish.
Oh,
no, Exileh gets
missed.
the juke. The shields are there.
No.
A cannon barrage, and Chachi gets the kill. Betsy on the chase, but he delivers himself right into the jaws of Xerxe, and he gets hopped on and taken down. Unicorns get a 3 for 0.
3 for 0 in what was essentially a 1v3 for the majority of that until Xerxe comes in. Chachi's ultimate assist. That couldn't have gone much worse for ROCCAT. That was so well played out of the Unicorns. Phaxi misses his taunt under the tower. Didn't have flash to make sure he can land it, because that's the flash Xerxe got earlier as he ganked him, and ROCCAT get nothing from that exchange.
Not a single thing, and it's a big gold swing for Unicorns as they find themselves 1,500 up over ROCCAT. These guys are having some trouble. I liked what they were trying to do, but man, you got to stick to landing.
It's that execution. I mean, you had Exileh on the back foot. He was already a kill down, and or at least had been focused out in that lane, and now he gets an extra kill for himself. Xerxe gets a kill. Chachi picks up assists. Even got the kill from it, I think, the first one. And now Xerxe wants to look towards that bottom lane. There was no ward to spot him out. Does not have his ultimate available, so can't go fully aggressive. But ROCCAT execution really undermining that play.
Betsy had been pushing in so effectively in the mid, but he finds himself down 2 deaths, and Exileh has 2 kills picked up as well. Flash has just come back off. Exileh doesn't have his, so this could be a window to punish. Both junglers are hovering a little close, but not too far. Just trades from the mid lane for now.
And Phaxi leaving the lane. Look at the CS disparity because of it again. Now Unicorns have opened up another one up in the top lane. It's 23 CS lead for now. Maxlore's around mid. Oh, Exileh gets good damage down though.
Exhaust. In hops Maxlore. Exileh just out of range. Xerxe's going to tag in though, and so is Hylissang. This is what happens when you bring more friends.
Yep. Hylissang had already roamed up, had just gone back by the looks of things, and drifts up through the jungle in towards the mid lane, and Unicorns are able to turn it around. You could see on the beginning of that trade, Exileh knew that Maxlore was potentially in that bush and actually read that very well. Now Maxlore's hiding around the corner because they know they've seen Hylissang with that control ward killing the ROCCAT ward already.
Okay, so there's been a lot of action in the mid lane and some in the jungle as well. But now that we're past that level 6 mark, we're not yet seeing that party in the bot lane that we were predicting. When does that start to happen?
Okay, so Sand United's coming back up. The problem is Hjarnan and Wadid have been pushed in and lost this matchup for quite some time in the bottom lane. But Maxlore has not been there to punish. It's not quite enough to just bring Shen if GP is there, because GP can either TP in himself or utilize that cannon barrage and even up some of the numbers from afar. So ROCCAT actually need to kind of 4 versus 2 or 3 this fight, and that's tough to do without Maxlore being able to put pressure on that bottom lane. You can see they've tried to get river vision control. They had some control in the jungle early on, but that's gone now. There's no way of ROCCAT actually securing all of that and then making a play from it without taking some risk.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for these guys. Unicorns are playing for the late game, but they're not looking too shabby in the early. It was a big outplay, and it seems like ROCCAT have played a much more conservative game since then. A lot of pings for Unicorns. Actually, earlier on, we saw as they were making moves into the ROCCAT jungle to just try and tell everyone where they were. Trade in the mid, or trade in the top, I should say. Phaxi going in on Chachi.
And this is the problem that ROCCAT have. Although theoretically their 1-3-1 is good and would be better than most teams, you're playing Shen into GP. GP will clear the wave and push you in all day, and has the same amount of global presence, and is winning the lane as well.
And he's 1 item away from a Trinity Force.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're playing Ryze into Cassio, and Cassio has more sustained damage, and Wadid's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, Wadid is getting some help from Phaxi. They did turn on, and Hjarnan took out Hylissang. Wadid just survived long enough to bring the Shen. Samux finding himself only with Xerxe to help him down bottom, and now ROCCAT are looking to turn it on.
Yeah, Unicorns trying to make a play utilizing this Malzahar, but couldn't quite get it. What will they lose topside is the question. Phaxi's no TP, but will they bring Chachi down?
They are. Chachi spends his teleport right now. He's trying to force them to back off. He's going to cancel it, continuing to push on. But now ROCCAT, they've redoubled their efforts here. There's no minions just yet, but they're bringing Maxlore. They should be able to secure themselves first brick.
Yeah, it looked like Chachi started that TP to make ROCCAT second guess their push and force them to kind of lose more minions. And now Unicorns are going to try and push 2 towers down at the same time it's taking to take 1 of the Unicorns, but that is the first tower of the game. Yes, on 7.4, some of the gold was reduced from that, but it's still a worthwhile investment out of ROCCAT to get that. They do lose top tower in the trade.
So they do have a party in the bottom lane, but it is a smaller one than we maybe could have expected. Shen was the only one that came in there, and Xerxe was a little bit late. Now, Unicorn still trying to find this tower. Xerxe and Hylissang, they're zoning Betsy away. He's still firing down an Exileh who takes a couple of tower shots. Xerxe locked up. He's still tanking right now. He's going to have to get out of dodge, taken very low, and they don't finish the tower off.
Unicorns reaching for that mid tower, couldn't get it. And utilized the TP on bot lane already. Couldn't save that tower, so Unicorns stumbling out a little bit. They've got Trinity Force here on that Gangplank, can now clear the waves very effectively. This was the play onto bot side, so they saw Wadid recalling on the ward, use the GP ult, and they think, okay, everything is great here, but it's just Hylissang. He doesn't have the damage to kill Wadid on his own yet, and it's enough for him to survive through and ROCCAT to turn it around.
It's the same thing they were criticizing him on the desk, is Hylissang going in, making the play, but there's no allies around him. It's still the laning phase, or at least it was until then. And yeah, you can't really expect to just be able to finish the kill off, so some questions raised for Unicorns. Nonetheless, they're still in the driver's seat right now and looking to get the final shots off on mid tower.
This is the type of thing that you heard Deficio and Hussein, the coach for Misfits, talking about before game one, which was when you're this far ahead of opponents, you kind of sometimes let it slip a bit. I think Deficio was the one talking about that. Hussein was like shaking his head, thinking he wants clean games, as all coaches would. So you can see where the Unicorns will go. Okay, let's just flash on the support and use the ult and try and kill him. But it does give ROCCAT that little bit of momentum just to start gaining it again, see if they can get back into this game.
Nonetheless, though, Unicorns are pushing pretty hard. Up in the top, it's hard for Phaxi to really push back, and you can see not just the farm differential that this GP can bring, and Chachi really just making Phaxi have a hard time. Mountain Dragon has not been looked at this time around, but with 14 minutes into the game, it looks like Unicorns might be changing that. There are some deep wards for ROCCAT behind the jungle, but Vizicsacsi is keeping Phaxi locked up here. Teleport advantage on ROCCAT's side, but it's very minor.
Phaxi gets himself the barrel kill. Chachi, you saw the icon above his head go up, and that means he can now afford his first upgrade. Pretty much unanimously as Death's Daughter, the giant central cannonball that fires. That's on that GP ult. Haven't seen GP every game in a very long time. A lot of nerfs hit GP a while back, reducing the amount of barrels he could stack.
Still plays great to Shen, though.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see the difference.
Still has a lot of damage. Don't forget that one.
Yeah, it's off the chart.
Yep.
Or at the chart.
Close. So close to the perfect line.
Yeah.
It was there.
Give me a 9 out of 10. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, okay,
So
cool. Hylissang, he's going to spell shield the roots, but with the Scuttlecrab vision down, Unicorns, they have so much on this side. ROCCAT have a few wards, but the ones they had behind the pit, they're all expired now. There's no chance to teleport in the back. It's going to be on Phaxi to do a stand united.
Yeah, and now Maxlore looking for Exileh, turns again.
Exileh immediately flashing, but it's followed, and they are out of the range of the cannon barrage. Exileh getting turned on once again. The Shen's delivered, but Xerxe finishes the kill onto Maxlore, squashing the bug down. Phaxi by himself here, and the fight is scattered. Chachi looking to get a kill. He flashes into the brush, and he kills Wadid, walking outside of the Strangled Thorns. Betsy flashing away as the Nethergrass finishes. Hylissang on the front line. Samux taking the Ashe arrow. In comes Hjarnan, but is it too late right now? He gets a volley off. Samux ace in the hole. Not enough to finish the kill, as Phaxi and Betsy are locked up under tower. Hjarnan is isolated. Exileh goes in for the killing spree.
Exileh is able to just survive long enough through these fights. Unicorns all alive, pushing past the tower. Now Hjarnan can't do enough on his own. That's going to be another tower going over to the Unicorns.
And they should be able to get more off of this. They get one. They're going to start continuing the push. And they're on top of Hjarnan, who flashes away from Xerxe. Betsy turns around. Exileh realizes maybe this isn't such a good idea, but Unicorns are still 5 strong.
These fights, some of them, is Chachi and Maxlore going toe-to-toe.
Maxlore's already back up. He tries to get the damage. No isolation for you, and Chachi parlays him down. Maxlore dead twice this fight.
Unicorns are going to back away. They're a little low to continue this fight, even though they've got basically like 5 kills from that. Chachi just picked himself up. Another 2 kills, has a Ghost Blade on top of it. These fights keep starting well for ROCCAT in the sense that like Maxlore keeps dodging out the Petrifying Gaze, which is great. That's how you want to jump in on that.
That's how you get the montage, for sure.
That's how you go, okay, we've started this fight good, and then unfortunately can't kill Exileh by about 200 damage every time. And that means Exileh just runs away, turns the damage back around, and Maxlore dies. You'll see it again. This is the second time this game this has already happened, where Exileh, he's looking for the ult, can he quite get it? Maxlore gets the turn. Beautiful timing on that. Flashes the wall, thinks he's got enough. Stand United's great, everything's here. There's Xerxe. Didn't kill him quite fast enough. And then Xerxe takes care of Phaxi and the rest of them. And Chachi has way too much damage now with this Trinity Force for Wadid to survive through. They get the Nethergrasp onto Betsy, and with the Voidlings kiting back, it stops so much of his damage. He can't Q through them, he can't run, he can't stand and try and fight. Hjarnan late into the fight. We didn't see where he started this one off. In Unicorns of Blood, there's still 5 members strong despite being low on health. It's not enough for ROCCAT to continue this fight. And eventually we see Maxlore come back in, but end up facing the same fate as he did the first time around.
Yeah, that's a long replay right there. Xerxe even had some time on the Gromp. ROCCAT just not able to execute in the immediate aftermath, and it's unfortunate that they don't have the power to really burst down any of these Unicorns members, because that really can spell the difference between a won and lost fight.
Maxlore thinking he can get one of these targets, low health targets. Can I get the I mean, he's probably, yeah, he's only level 10, so he couldn't get the reset anyway.
Also, Grump was assisting Unicorns there. Wadid's just running around trying to dodge it. 18.5 minutes. It's a big lead for Unicorns, 5,000. A Dragon went down while all that was happening. Unicorns grabbed themselves the Mountain Drake, and there will be an Infernal up next. Baron will also hit the Rift in a couple of minutes. Xerxe getting stopped up. Oh, Wadid has to flash the cannons. He's out of there, but it's close.
Yeah, Wadid getting away with his life this time. It was unfortunate. On the last times, top lane, they just killed Phaxi.
He was such a ninja, you didn't even see it.
I mean, Hylissang, his flash is down, his ult's down, Exileh got the kill. I mean, we can CSI that crime scene very effectively. Easy.
No replay required.
Pin it on the first guy you see.
Unicorns, they're moving their way up top. I don't think that's usually how it works, but in this case, I think you're probably right. It's going to be more Unicorns pressure up top side. 20 minutes into the game, they're looking to expand their gold lead. It's already 3 towers, and they will be able to secure an inner as well, rotating into mid. The wards in tow. They are controlling this game.
Yeah, Wadid trying to just get past that line of traps. That's so frustrating. If you've ever played up against a Caitlyn, or if you're like me and you're a Caitlyn player, it's so great. So this is the engage. There you go. Flash into the Nether Grasp. There's the CCTV footage. We got it.
Alrighty. So, Detective Stress, you were right for everything but one. There were 2 murderers.
One was an accomplice.
You only get an assist sometimes. Exileh up top. He's looking to repeat the crime. Oh! Everybody's been dodging the gaze.
He outplayed it without even knowing.
Doesn't matter, though. He's exhausted and locked up by 3, and they triple time him. Exileh with his 5th kill of the game. Unicorns keep on marching.
I want someone to interview Phaxi, and he's going to tell you, like, yeah, I meant to do that.
Calculated
I knew he could be there.
Okay, Maxlore has isolation damage on Xerxe. Betsy tags in, can't finish the job, unfortunately.
Unicorns are doing Baron.
Yes, they are.
They have Mountain Drake. They are able to do this. They have Caitlyn. They have Cassiopeia.
Oh, they cancel the back on the bottom side of Maxlore. Baron easily secured, uncontested, and Maxlore does get a shutdown, but he nearly bought it.
Yeah, how did he actually get the kill on that? We were looking at the Baron, and Maxlore managed to shut down Chachi. Looked like Chachi was still low from that last trade, and Chachi was trying to recall maybe out. Interesting.
Is that your best guess, Detective?
No, because I was looking at the Baron, so I can't put my best guess out.
That's okay. We have our trusty replay observers on that. Samux and Xerxe back on the bottom side to keep pushing. It seems like ROCCAT have really focused their attention on this bottom, but they gave up the Baron, honestly, without being able to get much for it. Let's take a look again.
Oh, Chachi picked this fight. That's a little silly. I mean, that's actually unlucky. Okay, I can't be too harsh on Chachi. He was fed enough that he thought he could get that and easily walk away. Was not anticipating the flash.
So Maxlore gets something at the end of it all, but ROCCAT are still very much on the back foot. What we saw out of them in game number 1, we saw them trying in game number 2, trying to punish mistakes, trying to force engages. The execution just hasn't been there for this team, but maybe it's good enough against some of the weaker LCS squads. We'll see. We're still in this series, though. Unicorns are looking to put a lid on it.
Yeah, Unicorns just establish control wards, establish the Nether Grasp on Betsy, cancel it. Samux now caught.
Yep, and he is taken down. Phaxi taunts his way in for the kill, and Unicorns, they're going to scatter out of this jungle.
Cancel the TP again. Now Chachi stays topside, and ROCCAT come out ahead on that one. They're going to slow some of this push here. Of course, Unicorns, that's a minute of their Baron buff gone.
Overextension from the Unicorns, still making a couple of mistakes. ROCCAT bite back a little bit. Let's see what they can do as Xerxe turns on to Maxlore Realm Warp. Betsy's around the side looking to wrap around. Let's see if they can get a flank off. But Hjarnan is going low. Hjarnan is going down. Vizicsacsi, gun to the head of the AD carry, and Exileh just dominates Wadid, and Betsy finds himself alone without allies. Even Hylissang gets a kill. Everybody on Unicorns coming up big.
The team fighting Unicorns remains a strong point for them. They're able to catch out Hjarnan again. And we came into this series talking about how much damage Hjarnan has been putting up. Not this series. Hjarnan has not been able to survive long enough in a lot of these fights to output damage. Either that or he's been there late and ends up getting pushed away from the fight before he can ever get there.
First inhibitor of the game now taken by Unicorns off the back of it all. There's an Infernal coming up soon. That'll be on their shopping list for sure, but Unicorns, they're looking to take a very big victory here. Let's take a look at how Chachi made the big play.
Oh, just... oh, that's difficult to dodge around. When a Gangplank puts 2 barrels in that small jungle entrance.
I love it. Hjarnan stops to kill the barrel. He goes, I got this. And then Chachi just turns on and shoots him in the face.
Yeah. It's like, you ever watch the old Batman cartoons or the 60s version where the Joker's got that like bang gun and then pulls out a second one and
it does a lot of damage?
Yeah, it's the actual gun that's what does the damage. Nevertheless, Hylissang is looking to lock down another target. He's got that flash. He's got the Nether Grasp. If this was Cluedo, you'd only have to guess where it is that the murder was going to happen.
There's been quite a lot all over the Rift. And Unicorns are looking to add a dragon to their bounty. Easy peasy, they've controlled most of the map. ROCCAT are not going down without a fight, but they are running very, very quickly out of options.
Yeah, right now Betsy's pushing out topside. The best he's going to get right now is a top tower, the outer tower, in exchange for bot inner while they've still got the Baron buff up.
Seen these trades
so
before.
With the inhib down in mid lane as well, the threat of the Unicorns here behind the turret, maybe. I mean, Maxlore's top. This is the same mistake they made in game 1. Is Maxlore trying to make a play out on the side lane when they're losing an inhibitor turret in the other lane. This is frustrating to watch because we've got past 25 minutes and ROCCAT are seemingly falling apart.
And Exileh seemingly moving ahead. He gets one. Can he get more? He gets taunted up, but the rest of his friends have arrived. They jump on to get another kill. Cannon Barrage. Betsy's fired down, and all of a sudden the Unicorns decide they want to end this right here, right now, and they'll do it.
Unicorns pushing in. This is going to be the win.
Unicorns were coming into today looking for a clean 2-0. They may have stumbled once, may have stumbled twice, but ROCCAT were not able to do it. They will be blasting off into the sky, and Unicorns take themselves a 2-0 victory. Well, that was abrupt. Managing to take themselves the win as Exileh turned up the pressure to 11. Unicorns knew they could finish it off, and even Sheepy's having a laugh at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, Exileh ends this game 8-1-5, and consider that at level 3, he was forced out of lane, killed, but traded it 1-for-1. Effective use of that Cassiopeia into the Ryze, and Unicorns, they get their first win in quite a few weeks.
Yeah. Big story of redemption for them today, even though ROCCAT may not be expected to put up the most massive of fights. Unicorns, it had been some time. They'd have trouble at IEM, only being able to beat Kongdu Monster in a best of 1. They had come into that tournament already having lost to G2, and then the Misfits disappointment a few days ago, and now Unicorns, well, there's something to build on.
And Unicorns showed us 2 things here. They showed us, first of all, the style that IEM gave us in game 1, where it was more about win the lane and try and push through. Well, game 2 was more about picking lane matchups that you're comfortable with and then playing it out in their own style. The Cassio, the Gangplank, not good in the laning phase specifically that early on, but utilizing the Rengar very well, bringing Hylissang over to other lanes early on, and getting the leads the normal way that they would, the normal unicorn way.
The normal way. You got like a lot of settings on the washing machine. One's normal, and then the other's unicorns, and it's like all the way on the other side. But they did it.
There's just rainbows everywhere.
It's probably actually I've been to their house. Can't confirm. That's what they have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a few times. But yeah, so Unicorns definitely can build off of this. They have themselves a pretty clean victory, even though they know they made a couple of mistakes. But I do want to say that ROCCAT kind of showed some hope here, and coming into the next few weeks, they can definitely take on some of these teams like Origin, Vitality, Giants possibly.
There was certainly some hope, and I think that's what we've seen from the bottom 4 teams, at least, Vitality, Giants, Origin, was they actually made improvements coming into this week. So that's a start, which is positive to see at the bottom of the table. These teams are actually working on some of their flaws and working within the meta that is being created. And I'm glad they were paying attention to IEM.
Yeah, it's nice. They didn't slack off. They got themselves a lot of training in, and they made the plays. And, well, another player who made quite a lot of plays, in all honesty, I feel like we definitely got to give some credit to Exileh over the course of the series. Yeah,
weathered a lot of engagements that were going against him sometimes and ended up turning fights back around. So Exileh, last couple of weeks for him were a bit quiet, honestly. Didn't really show up at IEM, didn't show up against Perks in the G2 series per se, but I think that Exileh's back on form.
I think so too, and that's a really encouraging sign for the Unicorns as we head closer and closer into playoffs. Chachi, kind of had a banner play, of course, for himself on the Gangplank, but different types of Unicorns, different players can step up on a different time, a different day. So it was nice to see overall that they showed different types of dominance in their series.
Different types of dominance, Unicorns. I think that they are contending right now for that 3rd, 4th spot, which, considering they were undefeated for the first, 5 weeks, was not where they'd want to be.
But other teams are stepping up too. I mean, you look at Misfits that they were able to take them down in the 2-1. I think it's nice to see teams starting to kind of climb back up, especially after IEM. Some teams had a break. Some teams went over there and made some big plays as well. So it kind of shakes things up a bit in the European LCS.
I mean, one thing's for certain, Unicorns aren't missing playoffs again. They make playoffs every split, but they're certainly not missing it now. They're in a comfortable spot. Now it's the game of put yourself in the best position, get that better, playoff match. It's realistically, if you're in 3rd, 4th, you're battling between who are we going to end up playing against? Is it going to be Fnatic from the other group? Is that what we want? Will Fnatic somehow be able to jump?
You don't know exactly who you're going to be up against, and you want to try to fight for the seeding that you want. But obviously, higher is always better, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. And the way the groups play out, it's actually only Fnatic they would end up playing. I was thinking, will it be Fnatic or Splice? And then realized we're in 2 groups. So 2 plays 3 and 2 plays 3 from the other group. So looking forward to that playoff setups when we're later there. We're not quite there, though.
No,
We've still got weeks of group play. We've got to do another round robin in the groups first.
That's very true. And it's kind of crazy to think how different a lot of those teams were when you go back to the first couple of weeks and everyone was kind of playing and winning as expected for the most part. Maybe a couple of teams didn't quite live up to the hype, and overall, we didn't really have a lot of upsets. I think that might change a little bit this time around.
I think so. Misfits G2, that's going to be a good series. H2K Unicorns, that's going to be a great series. So much still to come in the next couple of weeks.
Definitely is much still to come. But for what's here to come here now, Unicorns, their big win at QuickShot standing by on stage.